Welcome to another episode of Baron's mic forgot to record, so now he's narrating the game. We're doing... I'm showing off that I got all of the ammo pouches crafted, so we really don't have to craft any more inventory expansion sets. So all we need to craft from here on out are health potions and traps and ammunition. So it really should be easier. But whether or not it is easier, we've yet to see. And then, of course, there's always the fact that we still have to get more skills, stuff like that. But we can get all that as we progress through the game. Which we're going to try to do here. Right? So I'm just checking out the different stuff, like, okay, what can I craft? Okay, I can craft ammo. And then I realize, oh yeah, I can craft travel packs, fast travel packs. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's what bony meat's for. Because I literally forgot what the meats were for. And now I remember that it's for fast travel packs and health potions. So here we are, checking out different
Must have caused a stampede.
the mission here.
Lead into the ruins.
I meant to grab the Ridgewood, ended up starting the mission. But hey, whatever, I'll take it. And then follow the track of the Human. The Human. And we're on our way to storm Area 51.
Might need that.
So fucking funny. That's so amusing. I don't think anybody will make it past Vegas. I really don't. I think everybody will just chill out in Vegas. I don't think anybody's serious about it. If they do actually go to Nevada just to do it. Those who aren't already in Nevada. But, like... The other question is, if there are really any physical pieces of evidence that that aliens have visited, right? Like, and that's another thing is are there aliens? Do you believe in extraterrestrial life? And because the universe is so vast, so it's infinite, right? So because of that, why wouldn't there be life elsewhere? We have life here. It's not so difficult to consider that there's life elsewhere. And because of that, I say that there's definitely life elsewhere. Whether they've visited here or not, I'm unsure. I mean, after watching Ancient Aliens, it's definitely a possibility. Whether or not they have for sure, a lot of us civilians will never know. But the other question is Area 51 one of those things that's meant to throw us off, right? Because it's so widely known at this point. It's a question of, does it really harbor any alien life or evidence that alien life has visited? Just like, why would you let the public know about such a facility, right? And not just the public in general, like, allow it into media that, like, whether it be fictional or otherwise, allow it into media in general, so that way people could just feed this myth of it being a facility that contains that information. Just, why would you allow that? Because then people could plan an actual method of storming in and doing that. Like, that really just seems like something you would do to throw people off the scent, you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't want to actually throw such a big factoid around all willy-nilly without any kind of consideration of what could be any, negative possibilities or reactions from other people about such a thing. So, I mean, the other question is if a facility like that exists at all whatsoever, right? So, even if it's not Area 51, does such a place exist at all on this planet? In which we just went, hey, you know what? There's such a thing as alien life. We've discovered it. We've discovered that alien life exists and has visited this planet. And we're going to keep it in an enormous facility, and then we're going to let the public know about it and say, hey, guess what? It's in the middle of a fucking desert. If you want to come say hi, go ahead. Come say hi. We're here. Like, why would you do such a thing? That makes no sense to do. So, oh yeah, and this is where a bunch of bullshit happens, where I'm like, I'm definitely dodging and getting out of the way, and then for some odd reason it's like, oh yeah, no, it's totally here. Yep, see, dodge that, and then and before I could move again, it attacks again. It manages to recharge its powerful attack. Like, I understand I'm on hard mode, but to be able to take me out in 2 fucking hits and not need to recharge your strikes is fucking bullshit. Anyway, that's my whole stance on the Area 51 thing. Debacle? I don't want to call it a debacle. It's just perception of the facility. And here I consider, if I use a glass tripwire and I use a blast, or rather incendiary trap, could I make it so
I know how to override a sawtooth.
the incendiary trap explodes with the tripwire as well? So we figure out a way to toy around with that idea. So, last episode I was talking about a bit of comics and DC animated movies and the MCU. And now that we've ventured off of that conversation, that quick little tangent of Area 51, I'd like to go on a tangent about why the DC extended universe has been sucking so much. Until, I want to say with the exception of Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and my personal favorite thus far, Shazam. Shazam and Aquaman managed to find what I think was a perfect balance between dark and the comedy that should be necessary in a, you've got these wild characters with superhuman feats, superhuman abilities, and so because it is kind of unbelievable, you may as well throw in some sense of humor in there that's just like, it doesn't have to be so serious. Because if we try and make something that's so fucking, like, outrageously fantastic or fictional, that we may as well add some lightheartedness to it and some humor to it, instead of trying to go, oh look, this is nothing but darkness and tears and brooding. Like, you can do that with supernatural horror, with like vampires and zombies and shit like that, but like I think that movies like Evil Dead proved that humor can always help make a movie better, because otherwise it can be too dark or bland or dry of a film. And so adding a bit more to the film that makes it, like, there's ways to add stuff to it so that way it's not boring or fucked up. Like, I think, granted, I look forward to the incredibly fucked up live-action Spawn movie that Todd McFarlane's got the script of, and I really hope he doesn't have to change it any further. Like, the fact that a studio hasn't picked that up yet is fucking beyond me. Right? I mean, the Evil Dead remake, say what you want, I thought it was great. I thought it was really, really good, particularly if you consider it not to necessarily be a remake so much as what the Ash vs. Evil Dead TV series mentioned it could be, which is an alternate universe, right? So it's like how the MCU has the multiverse, right? The Necronomicon mess, like it references alternate dimensions and alternate universes and planes of existence. Like there's a lot to take into consideration. So to consider that there's an alternate universe in which this Evil Dead remake is, you know, another reality and shares the same universe as, you know, the other characters we love, particularly Ash. Like, that's not outside the realm of possibility. So, you know, and it makes it a bit more appealing, I think, in that you're not going, this is a movie, it's not a movie that's meant to replace the original Evil Dead, right? It's not meant to do that. It's meant to introduce the series to people who haven't yet seen it. That's the way I view it. And with that in mind, it becomes more appealing and less frustrating to watch, going, well, this isn't funny or anything like that. Like, also remember that the original movie was never meant to be funny. It wasn't until Evil Dead 2 that the series had any humor in it at all whatsoever. Like, any humor in the original Evil Dead was meant to be dry and kind of fucked up in a way. So, yeah. Please let the, you know, when you have a movie as fucked up as the Evil Dead remake that was hardly any humor and literally just self-mutilation and intense violence and horror, and that does well and is still well received, like the Rotten Tomatoes rating is like, what, 80 something? 78% or something like that? Whatever. It still did well critically and in the box office and in the home release. So for all those things, it really only just makes sense to pick up a Spawn movie
Your friend Den told me to come find
that
you.
is so close to the source
Why are you
material
up
in
there?
terms of, like,
The Sawtooth ripped our packs
being
from us.
a fucked
Me.
up supernatural horror.
Us. Without weapons, this was the best we could
Like,
manage.
let it happen.
Thank
Somebody
you so much
just
for
go, hey,
destroying
you
it.
know what?
Now we
Here.
can get home.
Or
One thing.
or
You won't tell anyone you saw us here, will you?
I didn't.
I have a
At
question.
least, not your friend.
Why hasn't
Need any help getting
Blumhouse
down?
picked it up?
We'll go back on our own.
Blumhouse?
Don't take this the wrong way, but
Blumhouse?
maybe we shouldn't be seen with you, or
The-
they might figure us out.
Same production company that was on board for Get Out, Us, and Paranormal Activity. And I think also The Purge. Like, they are a great production company, and they don't help give big budgets to movies, but I think a small budget is what could really, really benefit the movie, because when you have to try and really figure things out with a small budget that's not like grandiose or anything, you can really figure shit out, and you can make a lot. I mean, it would probably be able to work with budget of the original Deadpool and be really fucking awesome. Like, I can see that being great. So I would hope that Todd McFarlane could go to Blumhouse with his script, and maybe they'll help him out. But that was a weird tangent to go off of. I rambled onto, you know, dark and fucked up shit. But that was exactly what killed the DC universe. right? Things got too dark and fucked up when you have characters like Batman and Superman. You can't necessarily do that. Like Zack Snyder can make things work for some things. Like he made 300 work, and the Dawn of the Dead remake. Like, those things worked. But when you desaturate what is commonly known as a colorful world with the Flash and the Joker, and the Joker, who is easily one of the most colorful characters in all of Gotham, next to Condiment Man, right? So, like, it just doesn't make sense to desaturate the world through a filter and then make it so crazy dark and filled with tons of utter coincidence. Martha, why'd you say that name? Blah, blah, blah. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. And the writing was poor in that regard. And then, of course, you know, our fucking weird Lex Luthor we got. But it just... It was marred by it. And then... I think it worked okay for Wonder Woman, but I'd really not rather that happen with Wonder Woman 1984, and I sincerely hope that it takes more notes from the success of Aquaman to make it better, especially since we're going to have Kristen Wiig as Cheetah. It just... I'm worried about that. I like Kristen Wiig, but I'm just not so sure how she would do as a villain. And, yeah, I think the blend of colorful and darkness in Aquaman with, like, the trench was fantastic. And then the Seven Sins in Shazam, and, like, people getting thrown out of windows and their heads bitten off, like, shit like that. Like, it was fucking awesome. People
well, I hope you're looking
getting
to buy.
turned to ash. It was a really enjoyable film, and
like?
I would easily say, without a doubt, it's my favorite DC movie
Well, I'll be
since
off.
The Dark Knight
I hope business
by
picks up.
Christopher Nolan.
Nice.
And
Me
I
too.
would say that the ones between that are, you know, like the original Tim Burton's Batman,
Personnel. I'm all the wiser for it.
Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and
I found your friends. You
maybe
know where.
Batman Begins, just
They'll be
because
back
I really
shortly.
like
Oh, thank you.
thank
Thank you. What a relief.
I really like that Scarecrow got a
You
moment
won't tell anyone,
to-
will you?
to be a
Relax.
live action villain for
The
once,
matriarchs
which
are up singing the hymn of atonement.
was kind of
I
cool.
think you're safe.
You're right.
But
The hymn atones for all
yeah,
of
I
us.
just
Thank you.
That's not what I meant.
I hope I
but
don't have to worry.
okay.
especially with the Flash movie that's constantly being delayed. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone.